Hello, little dreamers. Welcome back to GigglyGig Tales. Tonight is a very special night. It's the final day of Ruby's baking competition. Are you ready to find out what happens? Snuggle in tight, because this is going to be an adventure you'll never forget. Let's finish our story. The morning of day 3 arrived with golden sunshine streaming through Ruby's window. Today was the ultimate baking challenge, the day that would decide who would win the golden Whisk trophy. Ruby's tummy felt full of butterflies as she put on her lucky apron with the little red strawberries. Grandma, wherever you are, I hope you're watching over me today, Ruby whispered softly, touching the little locket around her neck that had her grandmother's picture inside. Benny arrived early with a basket of fresh ingredients. Ruby, today's the big day. How are you feeling? Benny asked excitedly. I'm nervous, Benny, but I'm also grateful. Win or lose, I've already learned so much and made wonderful friends, Ruby the red hen replied with a gentle smile. When Ruby arrived at the colorful tent for the last time, the atmosphere was different. The tent was decorated with twinkling lights, and there was a beautiful stage where the golden Whisk trophy sat on a velvet cushion, sparkling in the morning light. All the animals from the meadow had gathered to watch. There were rabbits, mice, squirrels, birds, and even old Mr. Tortoise, who had walked all the way from the pond. Ruby saw her fellow bakers. Felix the fox looked confident and elegant, Olivia the owl was reviewing her notes one last time, and Gus the goat gave Ruby a friendly wave and a big smile. Mayor Magpie flew onto the stage, and the crowd grew quiet. Welcome, everyone, to the final day of the Great Meadow Baking Competition. Our 4 talented bakers have shown us friendship, creativity, and determination. Today, they will face the ultimate baking challenge. The crowd gasped with excitement. Mayor Magpie continued, for your final challenge, you must create a dessert that tells your story, something that shows who you are and what baking means to you. You have 4 hours, and you may use any ingredients you wish. But remember, we're not just judging taste and appearance. We're judging heart and meaning. Bakers, are you ready? The 4 bakers nodded, their eyes shining with determination. Then let the ultimate baking challenge begin. Mayor Magpie announced, and the bell rang loudly. Ruby stood at her baking station and took a deep breath. A dessert that tells my story, she thought. What is my story? She closed her eyes and remembered everything, her grandmother teaching her to bake in the cozy kitchen, the smell of cinnamon and vanilla, the joy of sharing treats with friends, the friendship bread from day 1, the rainbow swirl bread from day 2, and all the lessons she had learned. Suddenly, Ruby knew exactly what to make. I'm going to create Grandma's memory garden cake, a cake that looks like a beautiful garden, just like the one Grandma and I used to tend together. It will have all the things I love about baking and all the memories that make me who I am. Ruby the red hen decided with excitement. Ruby began to work with love and care. She mixed her cake batter with vanilla and a hint of lavender, Grandma's favorite. While the cake layers baked, filling the tent with the most wonderful smell, Ruby the red hen prepared her decorations. She made buttercream flowers in every color, red roses for love, yellow sunflowers for happiness, purple violets for memories, and white daisies for new beginnings. She created little fondant vegetables to honor Gus the goat and his healthy baking. She made tiny books from sugar to honor Olivia the owl and her wisdom. She crafted small French flags from icing to honor Felix the fox and his elegance. I want my cake to celebrate not just my story, but everyone's story, because we're all part of this journey together, Ruby the red hen thought warmly. As Ruby worked, she noticed something happening around her. Felix the fox was making an elegant tower of cream puffs that told the story of his journey from France to the meadow. Olivia the owl was creating a magnificent book-shaped cake with edible pages showing different recipes. Gus the goat was building a vegetable garden cake with real herbs and edible flowers. Everyone was pouring their hearts into their creations. The tent was filled with wonderful smells, happy humming, and the magic of bakers doing what they loved most. But then, with only 30 minutes left, something unexpected happened. Ruby was carefully placing the final flowers on her memory garden cake when she heard a crash. She looked over and saw that Felix had accidentally knocked over his tower of cream puffs. They had tumbled all over the floor, and Felix looked devastated. "Oh no! My creation! It's ruined! I'll never finish in time!" Felix cried out, his voice breaking. Ruby looked at her own cake. It was almost finished, and she only needed a few more minutes. She looked at the clock, 30 minutes left. She looked at Felix, who had tears in his eyes. Ruby remembered what Grandma always said, the truest measure of a baker isn't just what they create, but how they treat others along the way. Without hesitation, Ruby put down her piping bag and hurried over to Felix the fox. "Felix, don't worry. Let's work together. I'll help you rebuild," Ruby said kindly. "But Ruby, you'll run out of time for your own cake." "The competition," Felix the fox protested. "Some things are more important than winning, Felix. Friendship is one of them," Ruby replied with a warm smile. Olivia and Gus saw what was happening and rushed over too. "We'll all help," Olivia declared. "That's what friends do," Gus added cheerfully. The 4 bakers worked together as a team. Ruby helped Felix rebuild his cream puff tower while Olivia used her precise measurements to make sure it was stable, and Gus gathered the fallen puffs that were still usable. They worked so fast and so well together that with 5 minutes to spare, Felix's tower was standing again, even more beautiful than before. "Thank you, everyone. I don't know what to say," Felix said, his voice full of emotion. "You don't need to say anything, Felix. We're all in this together," Ruby replied. But when Ruby looked at the clock, her heart sank. There were only 3 minutes left, and she hadn't finished decorating her own cake. She had planned to add a special sugar butterfly on top as the final touch that would make it perfect. The bell rang. "Time's up. Bakers, step away from your stations," Mayor Magpie announced. Ruby looked at her memory garden cake. It was beautiful, but it wasn't quite finished. The spot where the butterfly should have been was empty. She felt a little sad, but when she looked at Felix's happy face and remembered how they had all worked together, her heart felt full. "It's okay," Ruby thought. "I did the right thing." Mayor Magpie and the judges walked around to examine each creation. They tasted Felix's elegant cream puff tower and praised its delicate flavor. They admired Olivia's book-shaped cake and its clever design. They loved Gus's garden cake with its fresh herbs and healthy ingredients. Then they came to Ruby's memory garden cake. Mrs. Hedgehog, Mr. Badger, and Ms. Squirrel looked at it carefully. "Ruby, your cake is absolutely beautiful. Tell us about it," Mrs. Hedgehog said gently. Ruby took a deep breath and began to speak from her heart. "This is my grandma's memory garden cake. It tells the story of everything I love about baking, the memories with my grandmother, the joy of sharing with friends, and the lessons I've learned during this competition. The red roses represent love, the yellow sunflowers represent happiness, the purple violets represent memories, and the white daisies represent new beginnings. I added little decorations to honor my fellow bakers because they've become part of my story too. And I know there's an empty spot on top where I planned to put a butterfly, but I ran out of time because I chose to help Felix instead. I hope that's okay, Ruby explained, her voice soft but proud. The judges looked at each other with knowing smiles. They tasted Ruby's memory garden cake, and their eyes lit up with delight. Mr. Badger whispered something to Mrs. Hedgehog, and Ms. Squirrel nodded in agreement. The judges stepped back onto the stage, and Mayor Magpie called all 4 bakers to stand in front of the crowd. Ruby's heart was beating so fast. She held her wings together nervously while Benny gave her an encouraging wave from the audience. Dear friends of the meadow, Mayor Magpie began, her voice filled with emotion. We have witnessed 3 days of extraordinary baking. We've seen friendship, creativity, determination, and today, we've seen something even more special. We've seen true kindness and selflessness. The crowd was completely silent, waiting. Felix, your cream puff tower showed us elegance and the beauty of your French heritage. Olivia, your book cake demonstrated precision and the wisdom you share with others. Gus, your garden cake reminded us of the importance of health and nature. And Ruby. Mayor Magpie paused, looking directly at the little red hen. Ruby, your memory garden cake showed us something magical. It showed us that baking isn't just about creating something beautiful, it's about love, memories, and bringing others together. And when you chose to help Felix instead of finishing your own cake, you showed us the most important ingredient of all, a golden heart. Ruby felt tears of happiness forming in her eyes. Mayor Magpie continued, the judges and I have made our decision. The winner of the Great Meadow Baking Competition and the Golden Whisk Trophy is Ruby the Red Hen. The crowd erupted in cheers. Benny jumped so high he almost touched the tent ceiling. All the animals clapped and whistled and stomped their feet with joy. Ruby couldn't believe it, she had won. Mayor Magpie placed the beautiful Golden Whisk Trophy in Ruby's red hen wings. It was even more magnificent up close, sparkling with golden light. Congratulations, Ruby. You are a true champion. Mayor Magpie said warmly. Felix, Olivia, and Gus all rushed over to hug Ruby. You deserve this, Ruby. Thank you for helping me, Felix said with genuine gratitude. We're so proud of you, Olivia and Gus said together. But then, Mayor Magpie raised her wing for silence. Wait, everyone. We have a special surprise, she announced excitedly. The crowd gasped. Ruby looked confused, a surprise? Ruby, as the winner of the Golden Whisk Trophy, you don't just get to keep this beautiful trophy. You also win an all-expenses-paid trip to Paris, France. You'll visit the most famous bakeries in the world, learn from master bakers, and see the Eiffel Tower. Mayor Magpie revealed. Ruby's beak dropped open in shock. Paris? The Paris? Where is Felix from? Ruby exclaimed in disbelief. Yes. And Ruby, there's more you can bring, one friend with you on this magical journey. Mayor Magpie added with a twinkle in her eye. Ruby's heart felt like it might burst with happiness. She looked at all her friends, Benny, who had supported her from the beginning, Felix, Olivia, and Gus, who had become such dear friends during the competition. This is the hardest decision ever. But I choose Felix. Felix, would you come with me to Paris and show me your home? Ruby asked hopefully. Felix's eyes filled with happy tears. Ruby, I would be honored. I can show you the bakery where I learned to make cream puffs, and we can visit the Louvre, and eat croissants by the Seine River. Felix said excitedly. The crowd cheered even louder. It was the perfect ending. That evening, as the sun set over the meadow, Ruby the red hen sat with all her friends, Benny, Felix, Olivia, and Gus, sharing slices of her memory garden cake. "Ruby, you did it. You won," Benny said proudly, munching on cake. "I can't believe I'm going to Paris. This feels like a dream," Ruby said, still in shock. "Ruby, can I tell you something?" Olivia said thoughtfully. "What is it, Olivia?" Ruby asked. "You didn't win because your cake was the most perfect or the most fancy. You won because you showed us what really matters: kindness, friendship, and staying true to yourself. Those are the ingredients that make a true champion," Olivia explained wisely. "Olivia's right," Gus added. "You helped me on day 1 when I was struggling. You inspired me on day 2 to be myself. And today, you helped Felix when you could have focused only on winning. That's why everyone loves you, Ruby." Ruby looked at the golden Whisk trophy sitting beside her, gleaming in the sunset light. She thought about her grandmother and all the lessons she had learned. "You know what, friends? This competition taught me 3 important things," Ruby said softly. "What are they?" everyone asked together. "Day 1 taught me that helping others is more important than being first. Day 2 taught me that being myself is better than trying to be perfect. And day 3 taught me that true success isn't just about winning, it's about the kindness we show and the friends we make along the way," Ruby shared from her heart. "Those are beautiful lessons, Ruby," Felix said warmly. "And now you get to go on an amazing adventure to Paris." Ruby smiled and looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the twilight sky. "Yes, and I'm so grateful. But you know what the best prize is? It's not the trophy or the trip to Paris, it's all of you. You're my real treasure." All the friends hugged together in a big group hug, and the meadow felt full of love and happiness. Mayor Magpie flew over one last time. "Ruby, your trip to Paris is in 2 weeks. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime," she announced cheerfully. Ruby went home that night with the golden Whisk trophy carefully tucked under her wing and her heart full of joy. Benny walked with her, carrying a slice of memory garden cake to share with his family. "Ruby, when you come back from Paris, will you teach us all the fancy baking techniques you learn?" Benny asked hopefully. "Of course, Benny. I'll share everything I learn because that's what friends do, they share their gifts with others," Ruby promised. As Ruby climbed into her cozy bed that night, she looked at the golden Whisk trophy on her nightstand, glowing softly in the moonlight. She touched her grandmother's locket and whispered, "Thank you, Grandma, for teaching me that the secret ingredient in every recipe is love." And so, little dreamers, Ruby the Red Hen's baking competition adventure came to a wonderful end. She learned that kindness is more valuable than perfection, that helping others brings the greatest joy, and that true friendship is the sweetest prize of all. Soon, Ruby would travel to Paris with Felix and discover even more magical baking adventures. But that, my dear friends, is a story for another night. For now, close your eyes and dream of golden trophies, beautiful gardens, and brave little hens with golden hearts who teach us that being kind is the most important thing of all. Good night, sweet dreamers, and remember you all have golden hearts too. Sweet dreams.